What's doing, everybody? I'm Alec. Thank you for watching First Class Fatherhood. Today's guest on the podcast is Brendan Schaub. Brendan Schaub is a former UFC fighter. He is also a stand-up comedian and host of several podcasts, including The King and the Sting, The Fighter and the Kid, as well as Below the Belt. It's a big honor to have him on the podcast today, so smack that subscribe button down below, tap the like, and let's jump into it right now with Brendan Schaub on First Class Fatherhood. Joining me now, First Class Father, Brendan Schaub. Welcome to First Class Fatherhood.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's start it like this. How many kids do you have? How old are they?
I have two kids, two boys. I got a 4-year-old and let's see, he'll be 11 months in October.
Still counting the months there. You got two boys going for the girl, or you all done?
Oh, we're not done, man. I want a squad. So we're trying now. So hopefully that little girl comes. She'll have 2 security guards.
Yeah, it took us 4 tries. We have 3 boys and got our girl on the 4th try. If not, we'd have 5 by now. So we got her, and she runs the show over here. So I'm glad we kept going. Did you guys do like a gender reveal to find out what you were having, or you just guys waited to the end? How'd you work that
out? We did like, I'm not big into those gender reveal parties. I think it's a little ridiculous, right? Like they start fires all the goddamn time. So I'm not too crazy about them. I'm trying to think for both of our kiddos, both our sons, my brother-in-law got like a cupcake and we bit into it and it was blue inside. So that's all we did, but it was super small. We're not going to start any fires. We're not going to freaking, people do crazy stuff, man. It's not good. You see the one gender reveal where they want to do smoke out of the car?
Yeah, I've seen on YouTube, there's some nutty ones on there.
It's so stupid, man. It's so stupid.
Yeah, our oldest is 14, so like we kind of missed it. We were early on the gender reveal stuff, but we actually, we told the technician to write down what the sex was, and we hung it on the Christmas tree. It was around Christmas time we could find out, and we waited till midnight mass, and then we opened it up together and found out what we were having. But it wasn't like a big party or nothing like that. It was just us,
Yeah, I love that. That's a great idea. Yeah, there's no fireworks. There's no, you don't need a piñata or none of that, man.
Brandon, if you could, please just take a minute here to hit my listeners with a little bit about your background and what you do.
Sure. I am a stand-up comedian, podcaster. If you don't know me from stand-up or podcasts, I do The Fighter and the Kid. I do King and the Sting with Theo Von, and then I do Below the Belt on Showtime. My comedy specials on Showtime, you'd be surprised. If you don't know me from that world, years ago, probably 7 years ago now, I was a former UFC fighter, fought for around 6 years. I was the Ultimate Fighter. Before that, had a dabble at a cappuccino with the Buffalo Bills in the NFL. And then I played football at University of Colorado, but that seems like ages ago. But now your audience will probably know me from stand-up and podcasting.
Yeah, what an incredible journey you've had here, Brendan. And so about how old were you then when you first became a dad, and how did becoming a father kind of change your perspective on life?
Yeah, I became a father around 4 years ago, and I was kind of in the transitional phase of leaving the UFC and pursuing entertainment full-time to what I do now. So a little bit like comedy and podcasting, but with UFC, the highs are high and the valleys are as low as you can get, but it's just inconsistent. Dana said it best. It's not a career, it's opportunity. So I think, when you get into the UFC, you think that you're going to be the next Conor McGregor. 98% of those fighters are literally feeding their families and paying their mortgage or their rent using their fists. And I just didn't see any longevity in that. Health-wise, I'm good. I could have kept fighting, but, what I do now is my passion, what I was meant to do. So this is a little more stable, not so stressful, although 2020 has been a little stressful. But outside that, man, yeah, I think having a kid just makes you really bunker down and shows you what's important. And fighting's a tough go. I'll put it that way. Fighting's a tough go. I'm appreciative for everything the UFC did for me, and it got me to where I'm at now. But it's just a really stressful go, man.
Yeah, and I had Dana White here on the show and asked him about like how it changes fighters when they become fathers. Would you say that like if you didn't become a father, you would consider returning to the octagon, or did that really cement the deal that you would stay away?
No, I think regardless whether I was a father or not, I was on my way out from the UFC. I just had other interest. I just didn't see the long game plan. Getting punched in the face. So, I think by becoming a father with what I do now, my father always told me the best investment you can make is in yourself. So I just put all the chips into my corner and went all in on comedy and podcasting, and it was the right choice. I think it's interesting. I've had a number of business managers, but when my business manager goes, "Hey, I want you to see this," and it was a year after my son was born, and it showed my income before I had a kid, and it showed my income in my businesses that I branched out into when I became a father. And it's just like that Papa Bear intuition hits, man, and you got to provide for this little dude. So it's been such a blessing, man.
Yeah, very well said, Brendan. What would you say are the top values that you're hoping to instill in your kids as they grow up here?
Yeah, it's scary in this crazy divisive world we live in now. I would say, the biggest thing I think for kids is confidence and to believe in themselves and have an opinion, man. I think too many people are looking for others for their own opinion, and they don't come up with their own. So I want my son to be creative, have confidence, and just be, and believe in himself, man. Because I think the one thing, I might not have been the best fighter in the world. I might not be the best podcaster in the world. I might not be Dave Chappelle of stand-up comedy, but I believe in myself. And I don't think anybody who's successful, doesn't believe in themselves. It's not, I think people confuse that with cockiness. It's not cockiness. I just believe if I put in the work, I can do what these other guys do.
Yeah, I bring a lot of the Navy SEALs on. I know you've spoken to quite a lot of them yourself, too. And it's like there's that fine line between confidence and cockiness, and it can very easily get skewed when it comes to that stuff. And obviously, you're crushing it with everything that you touch over there. And what about as far as you would say, I know they're young yet, you're only 4, but what about as far as discipline? Are you a spanker, timeout guy? How do you kind of handle discipline as a father? And is that different than the discipline style you grew up with?
Yeah, great question. I would say in our household, if there's a good cop and a bad cop, I'd be the good cop. I don't do well with discipline. When it comes to school and sports, that's where I come in. I'm really, really diligent and disciplined and strict when it comes to that. But outside, like in life and, cookies and candy and, him wanting to watch certain shows, I'm the fun dad. I really am, which is surprising to me. But my wife, who is full-blooded Mexican, is some days, man, I'm like, gee, I feel bad for the kid. I'm like, geez, man, relax a little bit on him. Like, she runs such a tight ship, man. But, he's just my 4-year-old. Everywhere he goes, he has these teachers and tutors and stuff. Everyone goes, he's such a well-behaved kid. And I give my wife all the credit in the world, man. I have nothing to do with that.
Yeah, it's definitely it's best to have like a cohesive operation going forward. Like I said, I have 4 kids, and each one of them needs to be disciplined in a much different manner. So it's a trial and error with so many of them. And you mentioned there's TV shows that they watch. One of the things that's awesome with my younger ones than it was with my older ones. My older ones, they watched like whatever was on the Disney Channel or Disney Plus, not even Disney Plus then. But now we have the opportunity to stream. Like now this month, Hulu has Thundercats on, and it was a show that I loved growing up. So I got a chance to show the Thundercats. I can stream G.I. Joe and all. What kind of shows you got your 4-year-old? What is he watching?
Your audience is gonna judge me and hate me for this. For whatever reason, man, me and him together got really into Rick and Morty, and there's some really adult conversations and topics in that show. But he loves it, man. He loves Rick and Morty. We've watched probably every episode 4 to 5 times, so we're past that now, man. But he's into Teen Titans. We probably saw that new Spider-Man, remember, with Marlon Moraes? I think I forget his name, but it was the animation Spider-Man that dropped, the Spider-Verse.
Right.
We probably saw that in the theater 8 to 9 times. He was obsessed with it, man. So it's just cool. I was into Spider-Man when I was a kid, so it's cool that he's getting to that stuff.
Yeah, some of these movies though today, like my kids are into the Avenger movies, and I went to take them to see that one. It was like a 3.5 hour saga. It was kind of tough to get through. It wasn't what I was used to as far as the superheroes. It's like put the superheroes on the screen and let them fight the villains, So some of that stuff gets a little drawn out. And getting into, I mean, obviously you were a professional fighter. You have a son yourself. A lot of the MMA has blown up here over the last several years. A lot of kids are into it. Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, all this stuff. What would you say is a safe age for parents out there that are considering getting their kids involved in mixed martial arts, boxing, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu? What's a good age to get them into all that stuff?
As far as jiu-jitsu, I don't think any kid should be getting hit in the head, whether he's doing MMA or boxing. So I wouldn't allow my kid to take any head strikes at a young age. But, I think jiu-jitsu 7 is the perfect age. At the Gracie Academy here in Torrance, where Henry Gracie and Huron Gracie are at, I think their youngest classes are 7. So, I would love for my son, which he is going to start going to the academy there. But I think 7's good. Him and I do stuff here at the house, so he'll be a little advanced by the time he gets there. But I think as far as being a gi and learning the structure and being disciplined and realize what's going on, about 7. But as far as putting your kid into straight mixed martial arts classes or boxing or kickboxing classes, getting hit in the head, I just don't see the advantage there. I wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah, well said. And obviously the pandemic has put a kibosh on so many different industries out there, business owners. It's affected the entertainment business as well, especially stand-up comedy. One of the things I'd love to do, you can't go anymore. They haven't had them. What kind of impact has it had on you and what you do as far as the stand-up comedy and being a father and all that? How has the coronavirus and the pandemic affected you?
I mean, as far as stand-up, it definitely, it's taken a hit as far as road work goes. I've done some shows in certain states that were allowing it. God bless, at half capacity, just still getting the reps in. I did get Corona doing it, and the whole family got Corona. Everyone was fine though, thank God. But so the pandemic, in many ways, it's been awful for tons of people. My heart goes out to them. But for me personally, it's been such an eye-opening, grown experience. I've really kind of honed in on what's important. This pandemic, just being at home every single day with the kids and them not going to school and me not having to be on the road, it made me realize, like, dude, you work too much. I work way too much. When my son was first born and I was just, starting to become a headliner, a comic, I was in Australia for 2 weeks. I was in London for 2 weeks doing European tour. And going through with what I'm going through with my 9-month-old, 10-month-old now, I see everything, man. I see everything, and it's so cool. And I missed a lot of that with my first son, which I regret now. But you can't get those moments back, man. There ain't a stand-up club. There's no theater. There's no crowd in this world that is going to replace that. So, I told my agent probably 4 months ago, just like, hey, man, moving forward in 2021, when things get back to normal, I'm not doing that many weekends in a month. I'm not doing that many weekends in a year anymore. I don't want to be away from my family. It's just not worth it financially to me. So, it's been really eye-opening for me. And then also, I had to get creative, man. I had to, I launched a Thick Boy Bike Club. I got really, really into biking, I biked when I was a kid growing up in Denver. And I started biking every day. And I realized this biking community is so positive. They're just so upbeat and supportive. And I launched, merch during the middle of the pandemic. And, who could have saw that coming? It's been such a blessing for me and the family. And, I take a lot of pride in that, man. So, I think I'm one of the fortunate ones where this pandemic it's been great for me, man. It's been such an eye opener for me.
Yeah, there's definitely been a silver lining for a lot of parents out there. I'm right there with you. Like, I've been able to enjoy so much more time with my kids, my families. And I think we've all realized that there's a lot of stuff we could do virtually, and a lot of business guys that have realized that they don't have to spend all day at the office. They can do a lot of this stuff from home. So I think it's definitely made some changes for the better going forward. Obviously, a lot of devastation involved in it as well. But obviously, I mean, you started with the Fighter and the Kid, and you got multiple podcasts that are really just killing it. Rogan obviously set the bar high here, signed a huge contract. Where is the future of podcasting going, in your opinion? Where do you see this thing going in the next level?
I think sky's the limit. Everybody and their aunt has a podcast now, right? So people are trying to get into it. I think the production value is going to go up. If you look at King of the Sting, which I do with Theo Vaughn, it's the most expensive podcast, I would say, in the world out there to produce. That thing's a mini TV show. It's basically like ESPN's Pardon the Interruption, but with two dumbasses. So, I just think people are going to have to put out better content, get more creative because it's more competitive out there now. Rogan went to Spotify and it's been a huge success, and Spotify's crushing over there. I'm all about owning everything you do and not having any bosses and stuff like that. And Rogan is too. And he got a super special deal over at Spotify. But with all the shows I do and all the shows Theo does and our other friends, I just don't think the move is for us. For Rogan, it was a fantastic move. But I think for us, it's honing in, creating our own network, and controlling our narrative. I really do, man. Because what we have is what all these major TV networks want. We have our built-in audience. They're loyal. They tune in every single week. You're getting millions of viewers and listeners and downloads every week. 95% of these TV shows you see don't get anywhere near the traffic that we get. So it's always weird. It's like people in the stand-up and podcast space want the approval of TV executives, and the TV executives want what we have. So it's this weird love-hate relationship. So I just think we got to bunker down, realize our skill set and what we bring to the table, and continue to make great content.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, and I think it's awesome that we all have this opportunity and choice. Just like I was saying with the TV shows, how I can watch the Thundercats or G.I. Joe. We're not stuck to just watching whatever's on TV like we were years ago. You can really narrow it down to whatever topic you want, whatever person you want to listen to. And I think that freedom of choice there is great. It's a win for everybody, and it's not being filtered, so much like it was before. So I think it's great. I love doing it myself. And the last thing I want to hit you with here, Brendan, I'd love to ask all the dads that I get on the podcast, what type of advice do you have for that new dad or for that about-to-be father who's out there listening?
Yeah, for those new dads, or, if you're on the fence of having kids, I've done a lot of cool shit in my life, man. I played in big major Division I football games, the Big 12 championship. I played in the Mile High Showdown against CSU multiple times. I've been some big cards in the UFC. I've done sold out shows with stand-up. I've done a lot of cool stuff. Nothing compares to being a dad. Nothing even close, man. On a day-to-day basis, it's just, there's nothing like it. Take advantage of it. Embrace it. Don't work too hard, because you're never going to get those moments back. So there's nothing better. And I know it's cliche to say, but I'm telling you, man, I've done a lot of cool shit in my life. There's nothing better than being a dad.
Yeah, very well said. I love the message. This has been an honor for me. I got to say, Brendan Schaub, you're a first-class father all the way. Thank you so much for giving me a few minutes of your time here on First Class Fatherhood.
Anytime, brother. Continued success, my man.